Now let's talk about who's better for Asia and the world. Okay, is it Trump or Biden? Well, hands down, it's gonna be President Donald Trump. So let's compare these two candidates, shall we? So Trump is 74 years old, and he's never had any experience in politics before running for president in 2016. We all know that. So he's been in the business world for decades, since 1980s. He was interviewed by Oprah in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken, and he was asked, "Are you ever gonna run for president?" And Trump has been very consistent ever since. Okay, all his life, and he's very consistent with his worldview, and he never changed. All right, I think all he did is improved. He improved his worldview, and what the thing that I like about him is he became more non-PC. What I mean by non-PC, he became more politically incorrect. So, what does political correctness mean? So it's not about being politically correct per se. That's not the literal definition of political correctness. Political correctness is a technical term in politics and culture, really. So you're not gonna say I'm politically correct because I'm for political correctness. No, that's not what that means. Political correctness is a weapon by the left in order to control our mind. It's the Orwellian 1984 tactic. So political correctness is eating at the core of American and Western society and civilization. It's the weapon being used by Western liberals in order to control the masses, in order to control thoughts, in order to achieve a greater power, and to become more politically powerful. So, political correctness is um, a concept, okay, concocted by American liberals. We call it PC. So control language, policies, measures, etc. So it does not mean what it actually says. Okay, so that's the reason why we have this program of Bill Maher. I was a fan of Bill Maher before, until he had this TDS virus. Um, he had this program, politically incorrect. So it doesn't mean that if you're politically incorrect, then you're wrong about politics. No, it's a weapon being used by American and Western liberals in order to destroy language, in order to come up with their own policies. So let's just say it's not politically correct to uh, not follow the pronouns desired or preferred by LGBT people. So it's like that. So if the LGBT would like to be called ma'am, then call them ma'am to be politically correct. Although in my case, well, if that's what they want, then I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna call you ma'am, but that doesn't mean that I'm gonna have a different opinion. I'm gonna follow everything you're gonna say, right? So do we have this cancel culture because of this political correctness culture in the West as well? Cancel culture. We have this Me Too movement. All of these movements created over the past years in order to weaken the Trump administration. So it's all a design in order to weaken the Trump administration. So political correctness is basically a weapon being used by the liberals in the West in order to destroy their own ideological competition. So, all right. So, just to define my terms, so I like Trump because of his non-PC stance or attitude. So he's not been politically correct over the past years. So this is the interview that I'm talking about. So he was asked by Oprah in 1988. So that's a long time ago. So as you can see, this is a proof that Trump has been very consistent with his views over the years.
Last year criticizing U.S. foreign policy. What would you do differently, Don?
I'd make our allies, forgetting about the enemies you can't talk to so easily, I'd make our allies pay their fair share. we're a debtor nation. Something's going to happen over the next number of years with this country, because you can't keep going on losing $200 billion, and yet we let Japan come in and dump everything right into our markets and everything. It's not free trade. If you ever go to Japan right now and try to sell something, forget about it, Open. Just forget about it. It's almost impossible. They don't have laws against it. They just make it impossible. They come over here, they sell their cars, their VCRs, they knock the hell out of our companies. And hey, I have tremendous respect for the Japanese people. I mean, you can respect somebody that's beating the hell out of you, but they are beating the hell out of this country. Kuwait, they live like kings. The poorest person in Kuwait, they live like kings. And yet they're not paying. We make it possible for them to sell their oil. Why aren't they paying us 25% of what they're making? It's a joke.
This sounds like political presidential talk to me. And I know people have talked to you about whether or not you want to run. Would you ever?
Probably not. But I do get tired of seeing the country ripped off.
Why would you not?
I just don't think I really have the inclination to
All
do
right,
it.
so he's been talking about these issues over the past years. Although Trump is still vague in the way he articulated his views that can be misinterpreted by other people. So what I think about his saying is that America has been so generous to other countries that it entered into this unfair trade deals. So as you can see, Trump has been very consistent all his life since 1980s, and the only thing that I can see as a problem here is that he's quite vague in his pronunciation of his ideas, quite vague and literal in so many ways. But the problem is his enemies, because they tend to twist his words and take his words out of context in order to attack him. You can see that Trump here was like being unfair to Japan and the Arabs for doing well in the United States. Why is it that it's their fault if they're making so much money in the United States? But he's not actually mentioned about the trade deals behind the success of the Japanese and Arabs. So what I'm seeing that he's coming at here is that he's trying to say that we have these unfair trade deals over the past years that made all these countries that hate us, except Japan, so successful, that we are protecting them. And he's actually saying the truth. And he's been saying that over the past decades. And this guy is right. So, well, you can say he's flip-flop on trade issues. His message was exactly the same 27 years ago. And he's right. Trump has been saying all this over the past years, and the fake news media has this audacity to claim that he's been lying, etc. So what they actually mean as lying, when they say that Trump is lying, it's a difference of opinion. Like the issue today about COVID. So Trump did not want to alarm the public, didn't want to the public to panic because of the COVID. So he tried to be hopeful in his speeches that we can beat this plague. He even used the word plague, right? There's a lot of lies and fake news ever since this COVID hit America. So his critics or haters were saying, "Oh, Trump has been lying about COVID. That he downplayed it." They call it lying, but it's a difference of opinion. So if you are the president of a country, it's gonna be immoral or wrong to cause panic and chaos, right? So as president, the first thing that you're gonna do is make sure that you secure your country from that crisis or from that virus, right? But you're not going to be the one to cause panic, chaos, and confusion. So you're going to make sure that you're going to spread hope, message of hope. So that's what he has been doing over the past, ever since, COVID hit America in January 21, according to reports. So while he was trying to stir hope in America by not causing panic, by not saying, "Oh, we're going to all die." If you're the president, you're not going to say that. So whatever Trump is going to say is still going to be attacked by the fake news media. So even So if he said we're all gonna die, then he's gonna still get attacked by his haters as pessimistic and as the one causing conflagration or panic. But even when he didn't do that, even when he said that we're gonna be able to survive this crisis and his message of hope, he was accused of downplaying it. He was accused of downplaying it. Really, these people in the fake news media and his haters were unbelievably mendacious. So while spreading hope, while making sure that uh, calm is preserved across America, that there's hope that they're gonna survive it, he banned travels from China at the end of January. Right, America was the first country to ban travel, and then his critics said, "Well, he never banned every travel from China by allowing citizens to enter. So are you saying now that he's not gonna allow citizens of America to enter the country? Is that your argument now?" So, I mean, these people who hate Trump did not have any argument at all. All they do is lie. All they do is lie. While at the same time, while he banned travels from Europe and China, and he started forming the anti-COVID task force um, with the leadership of Vice President Mike Pence. All these Democrats, like Pelosi, for example, Pelosi encouraged the people to have a Mardi Gras in Chinatown, and the health experts or the top experts in New York, for example, encouraged the people to use subways, and they definitely downplayed the virus. They themselves, were the ones doing what they're accusing Trump of doing. Okay, they did exactly the same things they're accusing Trump of doing. So by downplaying the effect or impact of the virus and SARS. So for example, Bill de Blasio as well encouraged the people to use subways to ignore the virus. Bill de Blasio is the mayor of New York, and and now they're claiming that Trump did the downplaying, despite the fact that it's actually the liberals and the Democrats who downplayed it all. All right, so let me just show you what I'm talking about. So this is the Health Commission of New York, Dr. Barbett. I'm not sure if she's a doctor, but she's the New York City Health Commissioner who resigned amid the pandemic because she downplayed
As the
the
city still
virus
confronts a pandemic,
in an
functional
interview.
relationship with the city's top doctor.
The thing for New Yorkers to know is that in the city currently, their risk is low and our city preparedness is high. There's no risk at this point in time. We're always learning more about having it be transmitted in casual contact. Right?
All right, so this is the NYC Health Commissioner Chief who literally downplayed the impact of the coronavirus by claiming that the risk is very low, and also
Telling New
the
Yorkers
the favorite health expert of the liberals, Dr. Fauci, said in the past, and Trump kept repeating this, that Fauci said that do not wear mask, do not wear mask. Okay, wearing mask is not gonna help you not to get COVID. He kept saying that. Dr. Fauci kept saying that. But now, the Democrats are gonna jail you for not wearing masks. So these people are hypocrites. And not only that, so we also have the governor of New York who blamed Trump for the death of 200,000 Americans because of COVID. Okay, but it was actually Governor Cuomo who mass murdered the thousands of seniors in nursing homes by forcing nursing homes to admit COVID patients. So despite the fact that Trump provided almost everything to New York. So he he actually caused the transformation of the Javits Center. Trump called for the Javits Center to be transformed into a clinic or hospital, and he also transformed or converted a battleship into a hospital to be used as clinic or hospital for COVID patients. Instead, instead, Governor Cuomo used nursing homes, used nursing homes as the facilities for COVID patients, and because of that, thousands upon thousands of seniors died because they were infected by these uh, positive or COVID positive people, because Cuomo forced nursing homes to admit COVID positive patients. This time I'm gonna be using uh, DuckDuckGo, because Google has been so biased when it comes to uh, its search results. So it's more skewed in favor of liberals or Democrats. So if you're gonna Google something, 90% of the time you're gonna see search results in favor of Democrats and against President Trump. So Governor Cuomo sends 6,300 COVID-19 patients to nursing homes during pandemic, and that's the reason why thousands upon thousands of uh, of seniors died, and because of this, and a lot of the families of these victims were trying, or I think they're suing Como for his criminal negligence, for causing all this to happen, because this could have been avoided if he actually uh, yielded to Trump's solutions by converting the Javits Center into a clinic or hospital for COVID positive patients, and converting a battleship as well, which was actually attacked or criticized by Rachel Maddow, if I'm not mistaken. So I've watched all this. So Rachel Maddow attacked Trump for having such an ambition to convert a battleship, and Rachel Maddow was saying, you're not gonna do it. You're not gonna come up with such a hospital. But then Trump was able to do it in just a couple of days, and Rachel Maddow said nothing after that. So these people are just haters. So not only that, so remember when Trump banned travels coming from China into the United States, so Biden slammed Trump and called him xenophobic. Okay, so this is the news I'm talking about. This was 7 months ago, so this is
We will lead by science.
okay. Lead by science.
World Health Organization now has officially declared COVID-19 a pandemic. Downplaying it, being overly dismissive.
So Biden was accusing Trump of downplaying it by acting too early. He acted too early. Okay, by being the first president all over the world to ban travels from China, and the Philippines, if you can remember, followed suit after like 1 week or two. President Duterte, after America's banning of travels from China, followed suit and banned as well travels from China to the United States. So if Biden were the president, he would definitely allow travels from China to come in, and thus infecting many other people. So that's
Spreading
that's
misinformation
his
is only going to
accusation.
hurt us and further advantage the spread of the disease.
Really,
But neither should we panic
neither
or
should be
fall
panic.
back on
So
xenophobia,
he's the one downplaying it.
labeling
Xenophobia.
COVID-19 a foreign virus does not.
It's this old guy. He's a pedophile actually, who's the one downplaying the virus. Okay, and not only that, he's actually pro-China. He's in the pockets of the Chinese government, or the communist party, and we all know that his son Hunter Biden was bribed by the Chinese. Well, these are the Chinese cronies working for the Communist Party, in order to attacked United States. This is definitely more than espionage, really. But as we can see, uh, Joe Biden was the one downplaying it, and he didn't even know what to do. And not only that, so he's accusing Trump of downplaying it. No, he's not actually accusing Trump of downplaying. He's accusing Trump of xeno xenophobia. And apart from that, he's being a useful agent of the WHO, who lied to the world. In its tweet on January 14, the WHO said and relied on the Chinese government's lying, and propaganda that the COVID or the virus is not gonna be transmitted from humans to humans when that's not actually the case. So it's all about propaganda. And when they, like I said, when the fake news media and the liberals are accusing Trump of lying, they're actually speaking of difference of opinion when they're the ones actually doing the lying and propaganda.